Okay, this is going to be part 3 on making a Mexican loop holster. Right now I've got, get that to focus, there's some little marks there I'm going to connect for the slits in the skirt that the actual holster goes through. So I'm going to just use this little oblong punch here, so I don't want the slot to be too wide. This is about slightly over 1/4 inch. I think these were technically metric, but I don't measure in metric, so I just go to the nearest inch, partial inch, whatever. So I'm just going to go from one mark straight across to the other as straight as I can. In fact, I should probably get a straight edge and just make a little line for myself so I stay on target here. Okay, I'm just going to punch these out. I'm just overlapping a little, staying on that line. Trying to keep it as even as I can, which is going to be kind of hard to do, but hard to keep the camera up too when you're pounding on the table it's propped up on. Just do the best we can with what we got. I don't have the money to buy a slot punch that's, 3 or 4 inches long. If they even make such a thing, I suppose somebody does. You can just take a round hole punch, punch a hole at the ends of these, and then try to cut between them with a utility knife. I've never been very successful at that. Some people do it that way, but I have better luck just stepping out my oblong here. I suppose you could do the same thing with a round hole punch. It'd just be a lot more wax. At least I'm getting a little bit of a rhythm going here. These may not look the best right now, but I'll be sanding them down and beveling the inside edges. That should help the consistency a little bit. And then once it's actually on the holster, then it'll be even less noticeable. All the little pieces all over the place here. Let's just see if those slots are big enough. I went on the small side on purpose because I don't want them too big. So let's just see if I need to enlarge them at all, which I'm thinking I do. I'd like to get it all the way in there before I make up my mind. But if I can't get it in there, then I reckon I need to enlarge them a little. Yeah, they need to be bigger than that. It's one thing you want to make sure you do. If there's something that you can make bigger, start small. If there's something that you can do the opposite, you should do that. Just going to step that out one punch at a time. I didn't bother with the bottom. I don't know if I need to yet or not. I've only made 2 other holsters this style, so I'm still kind of learning. I need to make that a little bit wider. I'm going to go about half the length of my oblong out, both slots. I'm going to do the same to the upper ones. Alright, it's the back side. It's the front side. I think that looks pretty good. I gotta step over to my other table and grab my gun quick and see how it looks. Yeah, I like it. I think get my welt in there. I got plenty of room. That's the cool thing about this kind of holster rather than one that has a separate strap like this one. You can just slit it through the skirt and then really know before you do all the other work, you know, sewing and everything, that it's actually going to look good. Because with this kind, you got to do all of the sewing and everything first, and you're just kind of up in the air whether you did it right or not till you're done. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, before we glue this like that with our welt, we got to edge the bottom here and the top here, so I'm going to do that quick. Got my Fibings saddle soap. That looks like. Just going to take the water that I keep around and an old rag, both of which have seen better days. And using that same water for probably a couple years. Probably should switch that out for fresh stuff once in a while, but it doesn't stink. It's just got dye or saddle soap or whatever in it to make it off color. I'm just going to get this good and wet. You don't need to like soak it, but it needs to be pretty damp. More water. That was too much water. Oh well. Just edge the bottom first and let that wick in a little. Okay, now that we got it wet, I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of saddle soap on my finger. Just kind of smear that on the very edge. This is just a piece of canvas from an Army surplus bag, old Army bag. I think you can buy canvas online too for, I don't know what the intended use is for it, but it works real good for this. There's other kinds of burnishers too that you can buy or get in the kit. Got a couple wood ones, but I prefer the canvas for most things. But those wood ones do have their place. Sometimes you can't get canvas in where you need to, and the one, you know, the actual burnishers come in handy. Okay, I think that slicked up pretty good. I don't know if you can really tell, but that's smooth as butter. We'll do the top here. Make sure you close up your saddle soap right away, because leave that open long enough, it's going to get all hard on you or whatever. It won't be much good for anything. You don't want it to dry up. So that's pretty well slicked there too. That'll work real good. So next video I make, I'll show you how to glue down the holster itself. Might do a little edge work in here in that one. I don't know. Might just be gluing it down, and then we got to let that dry before we can proceed from there. So I guess that's it for this one. Thanks for watching.